Hello, Aspie Marketer community. This is Sam, aka the Aspie Marketer, coming back with another video here today for us. Um, let's go ahead first and welcome any new people to the channel. If you are new, definitely hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell. That way you get notified every time I release a new video. In today's video, we are going to be discussing my story more so as it pertains to my teenage years. So with that, let's go ahead and jump right in. All right, so as I mentioned, we are going to be discussing my years as a teenager. Now, a little bit about me as well, and the channel, it's all about autism and different variations of autism, as well as different tips and strategies and therapies and all sorts of coping abilities, all to do with autism. We're going to go into all that on the channel, but as mentioned before, this particular video is a little bit more about me personally. So one of the biggest things that I want to preface this entire video with is, if you are a teenager right now and you have autism and you've been diagnosed with autism, I want you to already take comfort in knowing that you are so far ahead of a lot of people. Me personally included, whenever I was your age, I didn't know I had autism. All I knew was I acted and felt a certain way that seemed alien to everybody else. And we'll go into that a little bit more detail here in a moment. But just know that if you are already diagnosed with autism and you have a support system in place with a therapist and maybe even a speech coach, if you have issues with speech delay, you are so far ahead of so many people, and definitely be happy and thankful with that. But with that being said, I want to also thank Patricia. She is the one of my loyal subscribers here, one of my first subscribers here, to leave a comment on one of my videos asking for this particular video. So hopefully I cover it in detail, in the amount of detail that you had expected. Sorry about that, a little tongue-tied there. But going right into it, the first thing I'd like to talk about as a teenager going through autism, one of the biggest things that I would assume that teenagers with autism struggle with is their school environment and dealing with school, because already as a teenager it is tough going through school, middle school and also high school for sure. So what we can do, we'll go ahead and start out with middle school, how middle school was for me. So throughout my whole life, one of the things that was always tough for me growing up is making friends. And I never really understood why it was tough for me to make friends. I mean, I would have people talk to me, and I could talk to them. I guess as a child, and this is something I don't even remember, but I guess as a small child, I had enough interactions because my family, we were really big participators in the church that we belonged to, so we would go to all the events for that church, and I would be exposed to lots of kids all the time, and it was kind of like a forced into being okay with it mentality. Now I will say, as a child, one of the biggest things I had issues with, and this actually was throughout my whole life, I still do, but as a child it was really bad. I would have really intense anxiety anytime it had to do with socializing with anyone. So one of the things that was suggested to be done for me whenever I was a child to help calm my anxieties was to brush my skin. We used a skin brush, and I can link to that in the description if it would help anybody else with their children to kind of calm your child down. It's a very soothing kind of therapy. The way it was described to me is it kind of it wakes up their nervous system, your nervous system. And as far as with mine, it woke up my nervous system, helped everything kind of get into a better response, because it wasn't my nervous system wasn't responding properly, so it was constantly in that fight or flight mode whenever I had to go do things that involve socializing. So brushing my skin kind of helped me to calm down and kind of get back centered, which was really good. Got an itch. Sorry about that. So I'll link to that in the description. One thing though, I will say as well with school life. So jumping back into it. Sorry about all that. Blah blah blah. Whatever. I get a little all around. You have to deal with me there. I'm not the greatest on camera yet. Still learning. But going back to school life. So let's start at sixth grade. So sixth grade is middle school. That's when it starts, right? Sixth and seventh grade and eighth grade, all middle school years. One of the things that was really tough was socializing. It wasn't tough to talk to kids. Let me rephrase. It wasn't tough for me to actually say words to other kids and communicate. What was tough was finding that rhythm that normal kids get, where they can talk back and forth and get along. It was really tough for me because I had my own interests that were separate from a lot of kids. Like a lot of kids in sixth grade, seventh grade, eighth grade were more into sports and trying to figure out the whole boyfriend girlfriend thing. That was a big thing I didn't care about as a kid when I was in sixth and seventh and eighth grade. It was more about, for me, I was really into video games. I was into being the best at like video games, and I was into Batman. I've always, even as a little bitty kid, I've been super into Batman. If I could, I would be Batman. Even still, as an adult, I'm obsessed with Batman. I love him. I think he's awesome. Um, so a lot of times it was hard to find kids that were into that same kind of stuff. I mean, every once in a while I'd find somebody that was into it. I mean, I also like playing outside and running around outside playing on playgrounds and stuff like that. So I was still into all that. And whereas as the years went on in sixth and seventh and eighth grade, the playground and Batman and action figures, all of that kind of for most normal neurotypical, not normal, neurotypical kids, forgive me. Most neurotypical kids, though, they were more into playing sports and learning how to like play football and basketball and that kind of stuff. And I hated sports through my whole life. But as a means to try to fit in and also being pushed by my parents, I got into basketball. And to everyone's shock but my own, I was horrible at it. I was so bad at basketball that the coach actually told me and recommended I not try out the following year in seventh grade, which was so exciting for me. I was so happy. I was like, yes, don't have to play any sports. I hated sports. I went to a private school. That was the other thing. My parents, even though I wasn't diagnosed with autism, they knew that I was not like the other kids, and they could foresee that I would probably have a tough time in public schools. Probably would have got picked on a lot, which was funny because even though they put me in this private school, it was a Christian-based private school that was supposed to be there for kids with learning difficulties and whatnot. So it was already designed for kids with learning difficulties. Autism should have fit in perfectly there, but believe it or not, I still got bullied. I still got picked on quite a bit. Where I found my comfort in my world was in some of the extracurricular activities. Like I I loved doing theater. Now, theater in middle school wasn't really an option. So instead of doing theater in middle school with my school, I joined dance. I joined a dance studio and I took dance lessons, which dance was really fun. I wasn't that great at it either because I don't have very good balance. As a child, when I was born, I was born without being able to feel the pressure that normal people would feel as they walk. on the bottom of their foot. So I had to learn how to walk a different way, and it kind of caused me to kind of waddle. I kind of waddle, is what I'm told, and sometimes I even move my head back and forth like this, which is interesting. So, but that's how I got kind of through it, you know. I kind of learned how to get through it. And the other thing I learned how to do, which kind of helped me, it didn't really develop fully until high school, but I learned how to make people laugh. Um, I, 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 I I guess another one of my special interests is comedy. I love comedies. I love jokes. I love making people laugh and smile, and that's something I've always enjoyed. So I learned how to be kind of like the class clown. I'm not recommending this to any teenagers out there because I did get in a lot of trouble. You don't want to get in trouble in school. Uh, a lot of normal schools have a lot of extra clubs. So if you have an interest, this is the biggest thing I would recommend. If you have a special interest, like you're really into math or you're really into chess, or theater, like me, I was really into performing. I really liked it. I didn't my options were limited until about senior year of high school, and then I got theater in my school, and that was fantastic. I loved theater, and so with theater, I really enjoyed being able to perform in front of people. Memorizing lines was something that I was actually pretty good at. And throughout most of my school years, now as I get older, it's a little bit harder because there's a lot more stress involved in my life. So my memory's kind of not as great as it used to be. When I was in school, everybody used to say I had a photographic memory. I could see something once and remember it. Now, no, there's things that I'm told to do or things that I need to do that I forget almost sometimes instantly, which is bad. But as a teenager, I was really good with having a photographic memory. So, um, memorizing lines was really good, really easy for me. So I really took to that acting and theater and was really into it. So my point of all that is if you have an interest, I would encourage you to seek out that particular club or activity. Maybe it is after school, maybe it's during school. Ideally, it's during school so you can kind of get that break from normal school activities. And if you can get into there, you'll at least be able to. Maybe there won't be anybody else with autism in that club, but there'll be people in that club that have that common interest with you, that you can kind of learn to bond and maybe develop friendships with those other kids your age, and then it can help shield you. They can help shield you and protect you from the harsh bullies and critics that are out there in the regular classes that you take, because I know it's hard. It's hard not knowing how to fit in and then having people bully you because you're different. One thing I would love to do, and then we'll jump into my next point here, which is home life. But before we do, I'd love to just encourage you to keep your head up, because even though right now it probably feels like it's horrible and the end of the world because people are mean to you, as you get older, that kind of dies down. And I won't say it goes away completely because that would be a lie. There are still critics, there are still people that judge you. Uh, but it does kind of lessen as you go on. So this video is kind of getting long there, so we're going to go ahead and jump into the next one. But if you'd like a more detailed explanation into like how to deal with that, leave a comment below. Let me know what you struggle with. What's your biggest struggle? And I'll be more than happy to dive into that topic even further. But one of the other big things to deal with is home life. So as a child with autism, um, it's kind of, if your parents aren't autistic, if your parents are neurotypical, it can be kind of hard to communicate with them. And kind of, there's a lot of miscommunication that happens. Um, One of the biggest things I dealt with as a child and a teenager with autism was, it, again, I didn't know I had autism, so it was really hard. Um, I had these interests outside of outside of school, right? Like I talked about, I really loved video games, and I really loved Batman and movies and with Batman and stuff like that. So I had my interests, and anytime I was participating in my interests, and my parents wanted me to do something else, like chores and stuff. Nobody likes chores. Let me go ahead and set that level. Nobody, autistic, neurotypical, no one likes chores. No teenager in the world likes chores. But I feel like it's a very powerful thing to teach to be able to do that. And that was something that I lacked. So because I had a lot of pushback with my parents with doing different chores, and primarily my mom because my dad worked, so he was not really there to push me to learn how to cook or learn how to wash clothes or learn how to properly clean my room, properly take showers. Hygiene is a really big, important thing to your life. It's not just to make you smell good and all that superficial crap. Like being clean. Like here's something I learned from my therapist. Your teeth actually, and hygiene with your teeth impact your heart. So you can have like really bad heart disease if you don't take care of your teeth. That was something I learned here recently that I never even knew. And I was like, oh, wow, that's really interesting. So remember that whenever your parents or your guardians try to get you to brush your teeth, try to get you to change your clothes, change and shower. It's for your health. It's not just for superficial reasons. So it is important. Um, One of the things that I learned that actually helped me out quite a bit was to have a schedule. And now with cell phones, it makes it super easy. I didn't have cell phone back then. Now with the cell phone, you can actually set reminders on your cell phone for certain days. Like if you decide, well, I want to shower on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. You can set a reminder on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at a certain time every single day, every single Monday, Wednesday, Friday, rather, to shower, which is really important because then you can actually go and set that into a routine. You're used to a routine. We love routines as Aspies. I know that. So it can help you out quite a bit. And same with brushing your teeth. You can set it, a reminder before you go to bed, when you wake up, get up, brush your teeth, comb your hair, that kind of thing. Set a reminder on your phone. It's just as easy as setting the alarm to wake up on time for school, right? So you can do that. Really easy to go, right? So um, that's just a couple tips there. Trying to think of anything else home life wise that can really help you. Um, let's see. Oh, limiting time. This is something that I wish my parents did because they kind of, actually, let me go I'm jumping around. Let me go back to this next point. Let me touch on one other thing. So, going back to being taught how to do certain things. I was never taught that because it was easier for my mom just to do it for me. And one of the biggest things I wish she wouldn't have done was that because now I have to learn how to do simple things that other adults know how to do. Like we just this is really personal, and I'm really embarrassed to share this. Really nervous to share this with everybody. But one of my favorite things to eat in the world is buttered noodles. I love buttered noodles, angel hair noodles, in fact. And we were just shopping today, and I had asked my fiance, I said, would you show me and teach me how to cook these noodles? Because I don't know how to do it. I've never been taught how to cook them. And I feel like that's a skill that some teenagers probably would be able to do. So it's really, really, really important. This is to the parents. It may be tough, and you may get pushback from your teenager, but definitely try to fight through that and express how important and vital it is for them to learn how to do these things. Because as an adult, there's nobody there to teach you how to do that. And if you don't have somebody like a fiance, or a best friend or anybody that lives with you to teach you how to do these things. And once you learn how to do them, it's something easier for you to be able to then survive on your own, which is really important. So definitely don't just do it for them all the time. Once they get to a certain age, obviously, I mean, be there supervised so we don't get burned and we don't get injured and we don't hurt anybody else or burn the house down or anything like that. But definitely teach us how to cook, teach us how to properly clean our room, teach us how to properly wash clothes and dishes and those normal things, because we are capable of learning that. It just may take us a little bit longer because we process it differently, right? So moving along, one of the last things I would like to recommend you do, there's tons and tons of books and videos on YouTube that go into all sorts of different aspects of autism. One of the books, though, that I'd like to recommend, I'll actually link to it in the description below, but it's all about teenagers. So if you have a child with an autism spectrum disorder or a teenager, it can be really tough. It can be really complicated dealing with everything that's involved with being a teenager, and I could not possibly put it all into this video. It's already a 20-minute video. So if you're still watching this, thank you, and comment below with any comments, positive, negative. I don't mind. I want to read and respond to each and every one of you. I want to get to know my audience. Share this with all the teenagers you know that have autism. Definitely click the links below to connect with me. I've entered my Facebook group. I have a special Facebook group for autism and all things autism related, where we can connect and grow that community together. Definitely click the link there in the description for that as well. But jumping back to this book offers scientifically validated guidance to help you with your teenager and young adult as they journey through their teenage years and early adulthood to cope and learn the skills necessary to be successful. So definitely check that out in the link below. And other than that, I definitely want to thank you for viewing this video. And if you haven't already, subscribe and hit that bell notification so you get updated, as well as the like button, the thumbs up button, because it does help my video to get out there to more people with autism so they can learn from it and better their life as well. But until next time, I definitely want to urge you once more, if you're going through stuff and it seems like a struggle right now, keep your head up, because it's not going to always be this tough. Continue with your therapies. Definitely, like I said, join a club with the special interests that you have. There's all sorts of clubs. You could even join Facebook groups for your special interests. Like, they have Facebook group for pretty much anything out there, right? Join a Facebook group. Connect with people that are like-minded in your interests. It'll help you to kind of break up all that negative and give you a more positive life, which is what you deserve. Just because we have autism doesn't mean that we don't deserve to be happy, right? We do, and happiness is possible. So I definitely thank you for taking the time out of your day to view this, and I'll see you on my next video, okay? For now, have a great one.